Hi, I'm Jem.
And I'm Victoria.
And this is The Criminal Craic. One day we will make that sound beautiful.
This is like, it reminds me of Chandler and Phoebe trying to do the endless love.
My endless love, love. How are you?
I'm okay. Little bit toasty here in Scotland at the moment, innit? I always talk about the weather. Why do I do that? It's such
Everybody
a British
does.
thing.
Yeah.
Is it a British thing? Do you do it in other countries? Because apparently we have listeners in other countries.
And Victoria shot a brick when she realised.
Because I like to do accents and stuff. And I thought, oh my goodness, they must think I'm a blooming idiot. Which they're not wrong, you know, they're not far from the truth. But anyway, Gemma's looking at me just in horror, like, what are you rambling on about, woman?
No, I'm just going to not say anything because...
Oh, that'll make a brilliant podcast. Just listen to me, everybody. I'm so interesting.
You said about that, there was that meme about the audiobook. Oh, you wanted me to read it out loud?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is really warm. This morning, apparently, it was 18 degrees at like 7 o'clock in the morning in Elgin.
The summer has finally landed.
Oh, shut up! We've had the summer.
Oh, that one day back in...
Get to heck. That's not even a saying. Get to heck. Honestly, we've had some lovely weather.
I've just missed it all. I was sleeping.
Sleeping on the job.
Sleeping on the job.
What have you been up to?
Can I say? I can say, because by the time this goes out, I'm going to go and surprise one of my best friends down in Suffolk for his 50th, his very, very special 50th birthday. And he is just one of my dearest friends in the world. And I realise that I've known him almost half his life.
Oh.
So, yes, my friend Craig Beecroft Smith, and he's having a party. He's basically taking over his local pub. And I'm travelling down and I'm going to surprise him. I'm just going to turn up at the pub. I've told his husband. His husband knows I'm going. I basically said to Craig, I'm going to really try and come, but it's really far. I don't know if I'll make it. And in the next breath, I messaged Neil and said, of course I'm coming. I wouldn't miss it for the world. So I've been trying to find him something for his birthday. I wanted to find him something special. So I have been traipsing around lots of antique places and stuff. But it's all a big surprise.
Shall we sing happy birthday?
Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Craig. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip
Hooray!
Pepper's getting very excited. We have a little... Is she a cocker?
She's a Cocker Spaniel.
Little cocker spaniel friend today.
You're a spanner, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a spanner.
What have you been doing?
I was ill.
Oh, yeah, you were.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
I was ill and had to take a day off work yesterday. So I just felt so rough.
Yikes.
But then it was gone.
Good. I'm glad.
Yep.
Over it.
Over it. And I've not really done anything since we last recorded, if I'm honest, apart from working, so...
We haven't had such a big gap between recording this time, though, have we? Because we're trying to get ahead so that we can maybe give you more content.
Well,
if
we
you're
were
lucky.
trying to do every week to begin with, but we kept having loads of techie issues.
Well, techie issues and work issues and life and other.
Oh, I've got cramp in my foot.
Oh, my goodness, you just flashed me.
Did I? But I've got thingy pants on.
I know you have, it's fine.
They're not crotchless. Maybe next time. So, what we need to do, we keep forgetting to ask you this. If you guys would like to help us grow, it would be really, really helpful if on the platform that you listen to us on, if it's Spotify, if you could pop on and give us 5 stars, that would help us immensely. If you could leave comments and we will reply to you, or if you could do on Apple, it's a rate and review, so you give a rating and then you review.
And on Facebook, even if you comment and like and stuff,
yeah, it
you know,
helps.
the algorithms will grow and we'll slip into your friends' feeds and stuff like that, which would be nice. That sounded really seedy when I said it. Go away, tractor. Honestly, I left Suffolk behind.
Oh, that's alienate everybody in Suffolk.
Sorry, I love you, Suffolk.
Suffolk. Shall we just get into the case?
Yeah,
because I feel like you're just going to offend people.
I feel like you're just going to edit all this crap out anyway.
Well, I try, but sometimes it runs into other stuff.
She hates me, really.
Love her, but it's hard to edit.
So I'm going to get quite serious on this one.
Ooh.
So I've spent a long time writing this, and it's hopefully quite a poignant episode.
Good, because usually you just sort of throw it together in the half an hour before we sit down.
Like, I remember, I'm a big fan of Matt Cardle. I remember watching him write his set list on a car bonnet at a festival.
I'd be raging if somebody wrote on my car bonnet.
No, not on a car. He lent on the car bonnet, sorry. It wasn't in crayon or anything on the car bonnet. Sorry, Matt.
Victoria, it's your turn this week, so tell me, what is the crack?
I look for certain things when researching for the Criminal Craic. And whilst I hope our listeners enjoy each episode, it's also important that I enjoy researching, and I think you'll agree with that. And also, we need to enjoy presenting each case, because we're doing this because we want to, because we're interested, because we're invested in it. Even some of the crimes that I've already thought I was familiar with and presented, they've thrown up some surprises and fresh information. And with today's episode, I'm sort of ashamed to say that I had never heard of a single one of these women that I'm about to talk about. We seem to be taught the same things in schools for generations, and whilst I'm not saying that that stuff's not important, I think real life stories like the ones I'm about to present could serve to influence, inform and inspire, and should be considered for future curriculums. I'm going to start with a remarkable woman named Neerja Bhanot. Neerja was born on the 7th of September in 1963 in Chandigarh, India, to Harish and Rama Bhanot. She grew up with two brothers who adored and was adored by her whole family, earning the affectionate nickname Lado. Or Lado? It's Lado, so I'm not sure. But it means the loved one. Neerja began her education at the Sacred Heart School in Chandigarh, but later her family relocated to Bombay, which is now Mumbai. It changed to Mumbai in 1995, I think.
That is correct.
There she continued her studies at the Bombay Scottish School, a private co-educational institution established in 1847 by Scottish missionaries. After school, she went on to graduate from college in Bombay. During this time, she also stepped into the world of modelling. Neerja became a familiar face in print and in television ads, promoting everything from high street fashion to Charmy's cold cream to crackjack biscuits, baby food and toothpaste.
When you say crackjack, do you mean crackerjack?
I thought that, but I think they're called something else in India. I think they're crackjack.
Well, when you said crack, I thought it was going to be hemorrhoids cream.
Neerja was inspired by her idol, the legendary, I'm doing that in air quotes because I'm really sorry I don't know him, but I'm sure a lot of people will, the legendary actor Rajesh Khanna, who was a superstar of Hindi cinema, and she too was drawn to the glamour and the glitter of the silver screen. So, it came as a surprise to some when Neerja agreed to an arranged marriage to a man living in Sharjah, a match proposed by her father. Out of love and respect for him, she agreed, but the marriage was short-lived. Neerja, although she was petite, had a fiery spirit and was wildly independent. When she was faced with continual dowry demands and coercive control from her husband and his family, she knew she needed to walk away. Do you know what dowry is?
Yeah.
She decided that she was going to walk away, choosing her dignity and self-worth over conformity.
Good girl.
Neerja ended the marriage after just a few months.
That's quite difficult to do in that culture
I
as well.
think so. I thought that too, but I'm glad that she was independent enough and strong-willed enough to realise that this wasn't a good fit, because so many fall into a routine and it gets harder and harder to leave. And I've been in that situation myself, so I know not exactly the same, obviously. But
plus, in that culture, it can bring shame to the family.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Whereas my family would have celebrated if I'd have left sooner. Yeah. Anyway, it was shortly after this, in 1985, that Neerja travelled to Miami in Florida and applied to become a flight attendant for Pan Am.
Ooh.
The airline had recently decided to employ an all-Indian crew before becoming the first international airline apart from Air India to do so. This crew would operate routes between Frankfurt and India, catering to their South Asian passengers.
Is this about a plane crash?
I'll tell you in a minute. But Neerja wasn't hired as a flight attendant. She was selected as a purser, an important role that involved all the duties of a flight attendant, but with additional responsibilities. So pursers managed admin, handled in-flight finances and cash, and often oversaw cabin crew operations. It was a position of trust, professionalism and leadership, and Neerja was more than up to the task. And I learned something here as well, because in the Navy, because I had to go and look, I just wanted to find out what a purser actually was, and I went and looked, and in the Navy it was called a pusser. Pusser, and that's where the name Pusser's Rum came from. And I love Pusser's Rum, and so I get to say here, Not sponsored by.
But would be open to. I love the smell of rum, but I can't drink it.
Navy rum is delicious.
Blech.
We get to the serious bit now. On the morning of September the 5th, 1986, Neerja Bhanot was serving as senior flight purser aboard the Empress of the Seas, a Pan Am Boeing 747. The flight was en route from Bombay to New York with scheduled stops in Karachi and Frankfurt. What began as a routine 1-hour stopover in Karachi, Pakistan, quickly turned into a living nightmare for all on board Pan Am Flight 73. Whilst the plane sat parked on the apron, which is like a big car park for planes, it's basically where they would have their maintenance and refueling and stuff, and they'd stop on their sort of shorter stopovers. Whilst it sat there, chaos unfolded. Without warning, 4 heavily armed men stormed the aircraft, seizing control of the plane, its 380 passengers and 17 crew members. The men had approached the aircraft in a van disguised as airport security. Intent on causing maximum fear from the offset, they launched themselves inside the cabin, screaming demands and shooting at the feet of the crew. This was witnessed by a flight attendant named Nupur, who was violently instructed by one of the men to lock the door, and all of the doors were locked at this point. Shireen Massey, one of the other flight attendants who had been standing near a doorway toward the rear of the plane, warmly welcoming passengers, had witnessed events unfolding. Out of sight of the militants, she managed to reach the aircraft's intercom system, pressed the emergency button and bravely entered the hijack code, which rang out in the cockpit. Flight attendant Sunshine Viswala stood face to face with terror. A man armed with an AK-47 slung across his chest and grenades strapped to his body ordered her at gunpoint to lead him to the cockpit. Calm under pressure, she obeyed. But when she opened the door, she was met not by the flight crew, but by silence. The pilots were gone. Unbeknownst to the hijackers, the moment the emergency hijack code had been triggered, the captain, co-pilot and flight engineer had executed a daring escape, climbing out through the cockpit's roof hatch using emergency ropes and vanishing from sight in a matter of seconds.
Wow, that is nuts. What's that going to do to the mindset of these people who are taking all these people captive? Because what do they do now?
I know.
They've gone in there, but they can't go anywhere, so what happens? Oh, and you're going to tell me.
Improvising, I think, a lot of it, but also I felt like the abandonment of the crew and the passengers would have triggered a load of fear and stuff. I'll carry on. So Sunshine later recalled, she said, "I noticed that the escape devices in the cockpit had been deployed. I noticed that the evacuation hatch on the ceiling of the cockpit was open, but I pretended not to. I wanted to give the pilots time to escape in case they were still in the process of climbing down the ropes outside the plane. And the hijacker didn't seem to know much about the plane, so he didn't look for it."
Good girl.
What the terrorists didn't realise yet was that their plan, whatever it was already falling apart. The cockpit was empty, the pilots were gone. The aircraft was now grounded and inoperable and would never leave the tarmac. Sadly, though, the terror was not over. The extremists, thwarted but not defeated, focused their attentions on the passengers and crew who remained, and not everyone will survive this horror. The hijackers, who were members of the Abu Nidal organisation, a Libyan-backed extremist group, were demanding to fly to Cyprus and Israel to negotiate the release of prisoners. Members of their group all held on terror-related charges. With the flight crew gone, Neerja, who was just 22 years old at the time, was now the senior-most member on board.
Wow, okay.
A gun
just a
press.
Baby.
Yeah, just a baby. 22. I can't even think what I was doing when I was 22.
Well, I was managing places, but not places that it actually mattered. It was a sock shop.
And with that, with that many souls, now not your responsibility,
Souls?
but I did it funny and I didn't even know it. So I was saying Neerja was in charge now, basically, and with a gun pressed to her head, she was ordered to help the terrorists find a new pilot. Below the aircraft, Pan Am's Karachi director, Viraf Daroga, stood hopelessly on the tarmac, watching the crisis unfold with mounting dread. Neerja, steady despite the weapon inches from her temple, turned to the onboard mechanic and instructed him to radio the message out. Moments later, Viraf's voice cut through the tension via a megaphone, addressing the hijackers directly. He told them that airport authorities were working to locate a replacement pilot. After an hour passed, and no such pilot had shown.
Who's going to turn up that? It's a literal suicide mission.
Yeah, the militants, in a horrifying show of violence, dragged a 29-year-old Indian-American man named Rajesh Kumar through the cabin. They made him kneel at the open door, where without mercy they shot him point blank and threw his lifeless body from the aircraft.
Oh.
In that moment, any doubt of the seriousness of this group was extinguished. It was now clear to all that these men were ruthless, remorseless killers. After nearly 4 hours, the hijackers commanded Neerja and her crew to gather all the passengers' passports, clearly with the intent of singling out American and Western citizens. Displaying remarkable clarity, courage and compassion, Neerja quietly instructed her team to hide the American passports.
Oh.
Some were stuffed into rubbish bins, some were tucked under seats, and even hidden within the crew members' clothing, which I think is a hugely daring move, in like a really bold move in a dangerous moment, but one that likely saved dozens from being identified and meeting the same fate as Rajesh.
For her to think of that, because they won't have said we're looking for Americans or Westerners.
It's
for her to think of that is wow. Yeah.
Very, very clever, very forward thinking, and the whole crew in this scenario just seemed to do what was needed at the right time. And
I'd be a wreck.
I think I would. Yeah. So, unable now to single out any Americans, the terrorists seized a British passenger named Mike Thexton, forcing him to kneel on the floor. Like the others, he was ordered to place his hands on his head. So I think all the passengers were now sat with their hands on their heads. Obviously, the terrorists didn't want them to be able to
Were
do
they
anything
sat
or
in their
fight back.
seats? They didn't make them go down on their knees?
They were all sat in their seats, but this one was taken to the open door and made to kneel where the other guy had been. And it's a haunted image of just complete fear and helplessness,
Especially
because what could he do in that instant?
And if you knew your relative was on that flight, this will have been, I'm assuming, broadcast live as well.
I would assume so. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how close news media can get to that area of an airport. You'd think so, though. The cabin was gripped by a paralysing silence, and each person holding their breath, caught in a nightmarish limbo. The hours dragged on, thick with dread, as passengers and crew clung to hope, praying that this terrifying ordeal would somehow come to an end.
Did that guy get shot? Sorry.
I can tell you that no, he didn't, but he did. He was made to kneel there for 12 hours.
Oh, God. With his hands over...
Can you imagine?
No.
I read something else. I didn't include it, but I read something else because actually he does feel like one of the he's written a book. He feels like one of the terrorists maybe took pity on him because he'd actually been to India because his brother had died on a mountain, and so he'd been there to go to his brother's final resting place, but he'd been called back early for some reason, which was the only reason he was on this flight, and so he was spared, and he does think it's out of...
How would they have known that?
He was talking to them.
Ah, right, okay.
So, for 17 long hours, Neerja and her crew remained a calming presence amid the chaos, offering water, sandwiches, whispering reassurances and comforting terrified children, because there were children on board too, there were families on board, and standing firm in their roles despite the overwhelming fear that gripped the aircraft. In a shocking display of volatility, the lead terrorist swung wildly between brutality and bizarre charm. One moment he was savagely dragging female flight attendants by their hair, using them as human shields whilst monitoring the situation outside. So he was making them stand in front of the open door so that he could sort of peek around them and see, because he was looking for American fighter jets, expecting there to be American jets coming in.
Wouldn't have heard them.
But using these female flight attendants as shields. But the next minute, he would let his guard down entirely, and he was complacently flirting and cracking jokes, even offering to take them to Cyprus with him. So he went so far as to promise to teach Sunshine how to swim.
What?
I know.
That's really disconcerting as well if you're a passenger, because if they're one way, you're like, okay, this is who this person is.
Exactly. Yeah, and the surreal shift from violence to twisted playfulness was impossible to comprehend, and adding another layer to like the psychological torture, which in an already unthinkable situation. Like
Maybe.
you can't... You wouldn't be able to, you can't rely on them being one way or another, and that makes it really, really uncomfortable.
That makes me wonder, though, if he wasn't actually fully committed to what he was doing. He didn't want to be doing what he was doing, but I'm guessing they're doing this in the name of... Are they doing it in the name of some religion, or...?
I'll tell you more about the actual thing towards the end of this bit. I think he was committed to what he was doing. While the lead terrorist was joking and flirting, Sunshine eyed up an emergency axe housed in a glass box in the cockpit, but he followed her gaze, turned the gun in her direction and simply said, "Don't even think about it." Soon after this, the terrorists escalated the dread even further, declaring that they would execute one passenger every 15 minutes until a new pilot appeared. I'm sorry if I get this name wrong. Neerja Bhanot, the 28-year-old Pan Am mechanic who had earlier relayed the hijackers' demands to the negotiators, quietly warned a few of his colleagues that the aircraft's emergency power had barely 15 minutes left. After that, the cabin would be swallowed by darkness, and no one could predict what the terrorists might do once the lights went out. So the clock was ticking, and with every passing second, the sense of dread deepened. At 9:55 p.m, the aircraft's auxiliary power gave out. Instantly, the cabin was plunged into darkness. The low hum of the air conditioning unit spluttered and stopped with a hollow clunk, replaced by a heavy, suffocating silence. For a few seconds, it seemed as though time itself stopped. Then, without warning, all hell broke loose. Chaos exploded in a violent, frenzied surge. The frustrated terrorists, patience finally shattered, began screaming war cries, their rage boiling over into madness, and without warning they unleashed their final savage and merciless attack. Gunfire flashed through the darkness and explosions rocked the aircraft. Neerja didn't flee. Amidst the mania and hysteria, 3 doors were forced open, I'm assuming by terrified passengers, hell-bent on survival. 2 of the doors were opened manually, so they'd not deployed their emergency escape chutes. So the terrified passengers and crew members... No, they fled, sliding down the wings. But it was pitch black.
Was it pitch black outside, though? Was there nobody set up with floodlights
I
and
thought
stuff?
there would have been
floodlights
and stuff, but it was... They said it was dark. They said they couldn't see how far the drop was, but actually it was plummeting 6 metres into this total darkness. So basically just going for it. You go for it or you stay on the plane.
It's reminiscent of those poor people jumping out the Twin Towers, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sorry, but it is.
That image will that's one that's in in our adult lifetime, and that image will never escape me.
No, I don't think it will for most
horrendous. People. But yeah, they just went. The ones that were sort of not brave enough, but the ones that were willing just went and they slid down. And this included crew and passengers. They slid down the wings into the darkness until they basically hit the tarmac, and some of them did break their bones, but they were desperate to escape. Neerja had another option. She had actually reached a door that had opened automatically, which means that the emergency chute had fully deployed, and so offered her a clear path to safety. She could have saved herself in that moment, but she stayed. Refusing to abandon those still inside, Neerja turned back and began guiding passengers towards the chute, helping them flee the nightmare one by one. In the face of terror, she chose courage, and in the face of death, she chose to save the lives of others. In those harrowing final moments, an eyewitness recalled Neerja guiding 3 small children to the emergency chute. She was shielding them from bullets and ensured they escaped safely alongside her colleague Macy. Is it Massey or Macy? Massey.
Massey.
Massey. But the terrorists noticed. So seeing that she was still helping others, they raised their weapons and opened fire.
What, all of them?
Neerja was struck and fatally wounded. Neerja had been employed by Pan Am for less than a year, and she died just 2 days before her 23rd birthday. Now, 3 of the hijackers attempted to escape the airport under the cover of all the chaos and stuff.
Pretend to be a passenger.
But they were intercepted and captured by security at the airport. The lead hijacker, however, remained on board, still inside the aircraft when the Pakistani security forces stormed in, so he was caught too. And this is the bit about the terrorist group. The Abu Nidal Organisation, or ANO, was also known as the Fatah, the Revolutionary Council. It's a Palestinian militant group now considered largely inactive, but they were designated as a terrorist organisation by the United States, Israel and the EU. The ANO was responsible for a series of deadly attacks throughout the 1970s and 80s, which resulted in hundreds of casualties and obviously some deaths. In September 2001, Pakistani authorities released the leader of the hijackers. However, he was swiftly apprehended by US agents, and he is currently serving a 160-year sentence in a US prison. The other hijackers were released from Pakistani custody in 2008, a move strongly opposed by both India and the United States.
What, they've just been let out?
They've just been let out.
If they think they're not being watched every second of every day. And I hope he ended up in Guantanamo.
Neerja Bhanot's sacrifice was not just an act of bravery, it was a testament to the highest form of humanity. In the face of terror, she chose courage over fear and selflessness over survival. Alongside her crew, she shielded passengers with unwavering resolve, saving hundreds of lives. Tragically, 22 innocent people lost their lives and more than 150 were injured that day. Yet had the flight crew not been alerted and prompted to flee, had the aeroplane been allowed to take off, the devastation could have been far greater. Her quick thinking, including instructing her crew to hide passenger passports, especially those of American citizens, likely prevented a massacre. Because of her actions, not only were lives spared, but the world also bore witness to one of the most courageous and selfless acts in modern history. Mike Thexton, the British passenger who I mentioned, who was singled out by terrorists, survived. Fleeing into the darkness, he later shared his experience in a book titled What Happened to the Hippie Man. He said, "I may be biased, but I feel that day proved that the flight attendants on board were some of the best in the industry." After the Pan Am hijacking, the airline honoured its brave crew in 1986, grateful for their incredible courage. Years later, the US government also recognised their heroism in 2005 and 2006. Among them, Neerja Bhanot's sacrifice shone bright and she received a posthumous gallantry award from both India and Pakistan. In 1987, she became the youngest and first woman recipient of the Ashoka Chakra Award, which is India's highest civilian decoration for bravery. The Ashoka Chakra is India's highest in peacetime military decoration. It is awarded for the most conspicuous bravery or some daring or preeminent valour or sacrifice. That was just from Wikipedia, that bit, because I was like, what the hell is the Ashoka Chakra? The decoration can be awarded either to military personnel or to civilians by the Government of India. In 2004, the Indian Postal Service issued a stamp in honour of Neerja Bhanot. And I'm showing Jem a picture, which I will put on our thing.
She's beautiful, isn't she?
She was really pretty. In 2016, a movie named Neerja was released, giving an emotional tribute to her, and I've added it to my watch list on IMDb, and I'll share the link for that as well. Not watched it yet, but will do. So I'm going a little bit off-piste here, and I might annoy Gemma, but I think it's valid, okay? You with me?
I don't know why you're outing me as somebody that would be annoyed by something.
No, just because. I'll explain. Now I'd like to tell you about Frankie. Born to John and Fanny in Knoxville, Tennessee, Mary Frances Housley, affectionately known as Frankie, she was a spirited and capable young woman from the very start. In high school, she dove headfirst into clubs including the Science Club, Bowling Club, Glee Club and the Honour Society. Each were a testament to her drive and curiosity. Later, she enrolled at the University of Tennessee and pledged Sigma Kappa, but love soon pulled her away from her academic studies. She married young, but divorced just as quickly. I have put a little explanation at the end of this of what pledging Sigma Kappa means, because I didn't know what it's actually all about.
All right,
because it's only like from the movies and stuff I see, and it's not quite as...
I've got a bit of knowledge, but it's through true crime.
Okay. So it's basically... Well, you basically pledge to do things the way they like to. It is like a little...
Not society.
Yeah, like a little society. I was going to say cult, but that's not right. Oh, Gemma's saying, or is it? Undeterred by the divorce, Frankie set to stand on her own 2 feet, secured an admin job in a doctor's office in Jacksonville. But she quickly came to realise how unfulfilled she was with a desk job. She craved more and needed to challenge herself. So when she heard about the opportunity to become an air hostess at National Airlines, she jumped at the chance.
Ooh,
and one
plane.
day after her interview, just like that, she was hired. One day after. She must have made a really good impression.
I think what year are we on?
This was the 50s. Yeah, 1950.
They looked for peppy, friendly, and easy to look at, didn't they, back then?
Easy on the eye, yeah. I think she was bright as well, so that probably helped. Bright and bubbly and, yeah, peppy, like you said.
Friendly.
Less than a year later, on January the 14th, 1951, Frankie boarded National Airlines Flight 83. The DC-4 was a small commercial jet which carried just 20 passengers.
Was she going to Hollywood?
No.
Frankie goes to Hollywood. Sorry.
Relax.
That was a really
Don't
bad
do
one.
it when you want to go do it.
Sorry.
It's all right. The flight was taking a standard route from New Jersey to Virginia and with a planned stop in Philadelphia. Sorry, you've really thrown me by the Frankie.
Sorry.
I wanted to go to Hollywood. Yeah, with a planned stop in Philadelphia. It was all routine and unremarkable until it wasn't.
Oh, no.
At 2:13 on January the 14th, 1951, whilst descending towards the runway at Philadelphia Airport, as Flight 83 came into land, the plane skidded on a veneer of sleet which glazed the icy tarmac. Sparks erupted from the splintering aluminium alloy as the plane tore over the runway. Passengers screamed in terror as the plane rocketed uncontrollably towards a fence, slamming through it and finally coming to rest in a drainage ditch. The damage to the plane was major. The left wing had become detached, causing the fuel tank to rupture, and the body of the plane was soon alight. The shrieks and cries were obscured by the growing flames which roared around them, dulling the sounds, but Frankie's instinct and training quickly kicked in. She forced the twisted emergency door open before blindly navigating bewildered passengers through thick plumes of smoke. One after another. Frozen at the sight of the 8-foot drop, some of the more reluctant passengers needed an encouraging shove over the threshold of the emergency exit and out of the carcass of the burning wreck to safety. Frankly, gently but firmly obliged, choosing their survival over their fear, she pushed them.
Well, sometimes when it's not just fight or flight either, there's freeze as well. If you get stuck in that mode, you physically can't do something without somebody helping you. So that's why in movies sometimes when somebody's a bit hysterical, you'll see somebody slap them, and it's just to jolt you out of that.
Yeah, this takes my breath away. Like, I can imagine that. Like, I'm not afraid of heights, but you know, you went to Landmark, didn't you? And you went up that thing. When I did that, my legs literally froze. I'm like, if I step off here, I'm gonna fall. That's what my brain was being told, and so my body wouldn't let me step forward. And I just can imagine it, and it makes me breathless. It's horrible. But she pushed them, and she saved them in doing so. But sorry, but she turned back. A mother's voice called out. Her baby was still inside. Frankie didn't hesitate, and she ran back into the fire. Hours later, when the flames were finally extinguished, rescuers found her. Frankie, just 24 years old, was curled in a cocooning embrace around the infant she had gone back to save. I knew
you were going to say that's how she was found. Why are you doing this?
Both had perished. Alongside Frankie, 4 women and 2 infants lost their lives on Flight 83. But 10 lived because of her. In her final moments, Frankie Housley didn't panic. She didn't flee or falter. She acted with the courage, instinct and selflessness that most can only hope to find in themselves. A flight attendant for less than a year, she became a heroine forevermore. 9 months after her tragic death, Housley was posthumously awarded the prestigious Carnegie Medal, which is a tribute reserved for those who display extraordinary heroism in the face of danger. The bronze medal, a symbol of selfless courage, was presented to her grieving parents, honouring their daughter's final fearless act. Though she was no longer there to receive it, the recognition served as a lasting testament to her bravery and the ultimate sacrifice she made for others. She also became the heroine of a comic book in a series entitled The New Heroic Comic, number 68, by Eastern Colour Printing. And I found a picture which I'll include, and it's hella cool.
Let me see.
The cover is really cool. Let you see where's the picture. It's wicked.
Oh, wow.
They used to put so much into...
I want that picture.
You can have that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, they used to... And this is... I did a picture of the plane as well, for those that want to see it, which I will upload.
Does she look like the woman in the picture? Yeah.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we're not done yet. Now I'm going to tell you the story about Barbara Jane Harrison, commonly referred to as Jane. Jane's story mirrors that of Frankie's in many ways. Barbara Jane was born in Yorkshire, Great Britain on the 24th of May 1945 to Lena and Alan Harrison. She was educated at an all-girls high school before going to work in Martinsbank in Doncaster.
Ooh, I used to live in Doncaster.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
When did you live in Doncaster?
Before we met, so that's where...
Many moons ago.
Some moons ago. 1 moon ago. There's only 1 moon. There. Yeah, no, I lived there. We were at RAF Doncaster.
Donny.
Yeah, but we moved because we lost my little brother there.
Aww.
And my mum was just really struggling.
Little Craig.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And then you came to Elgin.
Yeah, but it was lucky I made it to Elgin because I remember an incident of my dad leaving me at nursery. What if I was still there? That'd be weird, wouldn't it, if I was still sat?
What, and they just had you as a little class mascot forevermore? You'd have still grown.
They could have hung the coats on me.
Oh. Was it that cold?
Oh, as if you've just gone there. Nips for days. Go.
Jane never married. and as such was able to travel the world working as a nanny or an au pair. This work took her to the US of A, and I did it in Australia, and I'm so sorry, and Switzerland. Kin to travelling by now, in 1966, Barbara was, I'm going to call her Jane actually, because that's how most people referred to her. So Jane was successful in her application to become an air stewardess. An air stewardess with the BOAC, which is the British Overseas Aircraft Corporation, a company that preceded British Airways.
Oh.
On the morning of the 8th of April 1968, Jane headed to work at London Heathrow, where she joined 10 of her fellow crew members and boarded Flight 712. This flight, crew and 116 passengers were bound for Sydney, Australia, and pushed back from the gate at 4 o'clock. Eventually, sorry. You didn't mention my accent.
I was about to get... I just slowly... Because I've become aware that I keep heavy breathing, like some sort of pervert, on the microphone. So I've been moving my microphone back and forth.
Oh.
So that I don't... So did you not notice I slowly moved over and I was going to go...
I did not.
What are you doing?
What are you doing with that accent? I don't know what that was now. God, she started again. So it eventually took off at 16:27.
From Heathrow.
From Heathrow. But just
No.
2 minutes later into the flight, the tower received a Mayday alert from the cockpit of Flight 712, and the pilot requested to return immediately to Heathrow.
Return immediately. Like, return. You're not even left yet.
I know, 2 minutes. How far could they have got?
Well, I used to think that planes could get you to, like, Ireland or something in that time.
No,
I thought they were supersonic.
They would have to have been, like, they would have had to have had a flux capacitor.
Didn't they have flux capacitors? Because they looked really good in Back to the Future.
I know, I want one.
Why does nobody use that technology?
I know what had happened to me though, because my clothes always get stuck on door handles, and I know that if I had a DeLorean, it would probably be my underwear and I'd be hanging from my own car, you know, just... Anyway, what was initially thought to have been a small fire soon engulfed Engine 2, which broke free from the plane and crashed to the ground, leaving onlookers panic-stricken and terrified. Can you imagine
You're watching waving
that?
off people on their holidays, or they've just been to visit and you've dropped them off.
And the bloody engine falls off. On fire. Ugh. After just 3 minutes and 32 seconds, the plane had landed back at Heathrow, but the fire had already caused significant damage and smoke could be seen from 10 miles away.
How does I don't know if you know this, but how does a fire just happen on a plane?
I don't know.
They used to let people smoke on the planes.
I know.
And I'm not saying that's what this is, but
letting people smoke on something that is full of jet fuel.
it's not the best idea. I mean, they don't do it now.
They should transport prisoners that way, I've just decided.
Con Air?
Smoke it up. I love Con Air. Put the bunny back in the box. Oh, Nicolas Cage, you're so wonderful. John Hutchinson, second officer on the flight, remembered, "We stopped on the runway. This superheated metal burst into flames and the fire spread from the tail of the aeroplane up the fuselage. Every now and then there'd be the most horrendous explosions as a fuel tank exploded or a tyre burst." He said it so blasé though, like... The crew, or that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
The crew were quick to initiate emergency protocols. However, some of the equipment didn't work as it should, and they had to improvise. People already being helped down the emergency were already being helped down the emergency slides. However, these caught on fire too and melted.
It must have been absolute pandemonium as well.
There are quite a few pictures of this one, and it's horrendous.
We're not sharing pictures of the fire.
No, I agree.
I think we highlight the ladies that you've told us
Definitely.
about.
Rosalind Unwin, a member of the cabin crew, said, "We had a very, very good crew that day. My chute did not work properly. I pulled the ripcord and it came off.
Oh,
I was later to learn it had probably moved in its casing during many takeoffs and landings. We just pushed and shoved passengers out, generally without cabin baggage, about a body every second. Some of the passengers remained calm. I recall seeing a poor lady at the bottom of the chute. She just stood there and wet herself. One of the aircraft tyres was rolling towards another lady passenger.
Oh.
A fireman helped her away and another managed to divert the tyre's course of rolling. Whilst all this was going on, the aircraft exploded 3 or 4 more times.
All you want to do is get off.
Literally pandemonium. This was terror. Jane was seated at the rear of the plane. Her assigned duties in case of an emergency included helping the steward at the aft station to open the appropriate rear door and inflate the escape chute, and then to assist the passengers at the rear of the aircraft to leave in an orderly manner. This is precisely what Jane did. However, the emergency chute twisted during inflation, and with the others burnt up from the explosions and stuff, burning all around them basically, Jane and her colleague, steward Taylor, realised they needed to do something. So Taylor actually climbed down this twisted chute to untwist it. So that it could be used as it was intended. Sorry, I'm talking with my hands because I'm getting very like... However, that steward was unable to climb back up, which left Barb Jane on her own at the top. So she was stuck there with the remaining passengers. Only 6 people managed to escape down that chute before it too was punctured and rendered useless. So even though he'd gone... I'm assuming that I don't know that. They'd gone down the chute, untwisted it, but only 6 managed to actually use it before it was useless as well. Harrison still succeeded in helping a further 22 passengers to escape. Eyewitnesses claim they saw her preparing to jump out of that door, with the captain yelling at her to do so, but she was distracted and retreated into the burning fuselage.
Oh no, what did she see that sent her back in?
It's thought that Jane went back to help an elderly disabled lady and an 8-year-old girl. Tragically, none of them would survive the horrific event. Her colleague Anne Woods later said she had plenty of opportunity to escape, but did not feel right about leaving a wheelchair passenger and 3 others on board. After that harrowing flight, Harrison was awarded the George Cross, which is a rare and extraordinary honour. She made history as the first woman to receive the medal in peacetime and remains one of only 4 women ever to be recognised with it. Decades later, in 1987, British Airways purchased the medal, ensuring that her legacy lives on, and it now rests in the Archive Museum at Heathrow, a quiet tribute to her bravery. It's horrendous. In 1971, her courage was further recognised with the Flight Safety Foundation Heroism Award. Created just a few years earlier in 1968, the award honours those whose actions in the face of danger go far beyond duty. Harrison's calm under pressure and her refusal to give in to fear left a lasting mark on everyone who hears her story, and I believe that it was important to share. Not exactly our remit, as I said, but I hope you can see why I wanted to include it. In 2019, a blue plaque was unveiled in honour of Barbara Jane Harrison, and you'll find this plaque at Kingsdale Crescent in Bradford, where Jane used to live, and this was paid for by British Airways. So, though only one of these women's stories involved an actual crime, I hope it's clear why I chose to share them. In times as dark and uncertain as these, and with looming threat of global conflict and unrest echoing even through the quiet corners of rural Britain, with all sorts of civil stuff going on at the moment, stories of courage and selflessness feel more vital than ever, and I can't help but wonder how many untold acts of quiet bravery are unfolding right now, unnoticed but no less heroic, especially in, Ukraine and Gaza and places like that. My life is small, but I've come to understand the weight a single voice can carry. I've seen the impact it can have when someone chooses to stand up, not for praise or attention, but simply because it's the right thing to do. It takes courage to defend those innocent and vulnerable and those who can't speak for themselves. And in a world where cruelty so often shows its face, the decision to stand by one another, to speak the truth, and to live with integrity still matters, and it always will.
Wow. I need a moment to collect my thoughts. I could never be angry about what you've shared. And there was only one crime case there, but everything else tied in. And I think you're right. I think these people do need to be recognised. And I hadn't heard of any of those names before.
That really shocked me. When I started reading more and more.
You could probably find another 12.
I started with Neerja, and then just one thing led to another, as it does when we're researching these things sometimes. And I thought they're all valid, they're all worthy. And whilst, yes, we're a true crime podcast, I do hope you can see why I did it.
Well, I can, yeah. They do tie in, and it shows courage. As I said to you before, we are true crime, and I would be a bit miffed if a story was shared that had absolutely nothing to do with true crime. But I can see, you spoke of Neerja to begin with, sorry. You spoke about Neerja to begin with, and you were just highlighting, she's not the only person like this. Look at what these other people have done, and the way you tied it into to the end as well. There is a lot of conflict going on, and maybe this is what people need to be focusing on, the heroic things that people do.
And I was trying to find the words to say that it wasn't a choice as such that they made, but it was in the moment, but it was because of the circumstances that they were put into that they had to make these decisions. But it was, and I don't know, is it something that's in you and you just don't know because you've not been in that situation, or is it something you consciously sort of say, I can't stand for that? You just don't know, and I hope most of you never know. I hope most of you never have to find out, but
yeah,
it just really hit me how much these women just what they did.
Well,
How
there
much
was
they
a line-
sacrificed. They were young women.
There was a line that you used at the end of Jane's story, and I can't remember what line it was, but it was basically about the choice, like when she went back. And I think maybe it isn't a choice. It's not a conscious choice.
No.
You're just in autopilot. Badoom-cha.
Badoom-cha.
You're on autopilot and you're doing what needs to be done. It's like a single-minded focus, but at the same time, and I don't know, a lot of people think it's a bit airy-fairy, but I do believe that some people are here for a reason, and maybe that was their reason. They were fulfilling their purpose.
I think a lot of people believe that the universe has a plan. And, you know, a lot of people believe in a higher power as well, and believe that they will go on to fulfill other things in other ways. There was actually about Neerja, I think it was Neerja, I'm really sorry, one of them I was reading, and they talked about an afterlife, and actually one of them has a ghostly presence. But I thought, I'm not going to go off on a tangent and speak about paranormal, because that's really not us.
It's a different podcast for paranormal.
But I think it was her family, and so I'm happy that they have that belief.
Yeah, of course.
That she's still present in a way. So, and if that's what they need, then yeah, good.
There was another case that we covered, and I can't think which one it was, but there was something in a similar vein that the family carried on in a certain way. Oh, I can't remember what it was now. I might have to cut this. Because I remember us saying, I mean, if that's how they get through it, it was about faith. So it was about faith.
Yeah.
And
it was actually Road Trip, I think, wasn't it? When you were talking at the end about because they forgave the chap, and they forgave the perpetrator, didn't they?
So I think for some people that's what helps them carry on at the other side of it.
Yeah. And whilst it might seem huge for some of us to be forgiving, if that's the way that they cope,
yeah,
I'm glad that they've got that faith and that belief. And it's the same with, you know, if they believe that
they'll see a loved one when they pass. It might not be what everybody believes, but yeah, no, I'm with you. I think you do what you have to do to get through it. So that was actually wonderful. I don't want to say enjoyed. I enjoyed hearing about the women.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy what they went through.
I think I'm quite proud of that and how it all came together. I spent a lot of time trying to word it right, and I probably repeated myself from story to story of each woman because there were so many similarities, but they were all courageous, and they did all keep their heads in really, really tricky situations.
I can't keep my head straight when I've lost keys, so
I know I cannot imagine, and I don't want to imagine being in that situation, but I am thankful that people like that exist, and I'm sure a lot of the survivors are thankful too.
Yeah, definitely. But can you please pick something that doesn't have me telling you off? A woman wrapped round a baby.
I'm sorry.
That both perished. Just to point out, my next case isn't a murder or a missing person.
What is it?
I'm not telling you.
She's a sneaky, crafty one.
Oh, we've set up our
Curiosity Crack.
Yes, that's what it's
called. I don't know why I said that. Was that like Yoda? I don't know.
No, because otherwise it'd be Crack Curiosity, is it?
Or maybe it was the guy from that thing that you watched, the Friday night dinner. It reminded me of someone anyway. Friday night tea?
No, it is Friday night dinner.
You looked at me funny. I thought I got it wrong.
I'm trying to think. Yoda's not in that.
No.
I'm so confused. We're going to cut all this.
Yeah, we are.
Cut! Yeah, so please let us know what you think of the episodes. Share with your friends. Download. Help us get these numbers up a little bit more.
And I keep trying to make you all cry, but you haven't let me know that it's working yet.
Heartless. Heartless. You, not them.
Oh, right. I really need a wee.
All right, okay
you need
then.
To cut all this.
No, we'll leave that in.
Why? Every time.
Well, if we can sign off if you would shut your face.
Okay.
Don't call me chutchy face. That's what my dad always says.
My uchi coochie uchi uchi choochie face.
My dad's never done that. I think I would disown him. And if he listens to this, he'll probably do it when he visits. Anyway, thank you for listening. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye.
Keep on trucking.
Oh, you remembered this week.
I did.
Bye.
Bye-bye.